Welcome to Unshakeable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole. Hello and welcome to Unshakeable with Human Design, everybody. I'm your host, Nicole, and today we're going to talk about strengths and weaknesses. How are we looking at this from a perspective that is more damaging to us than helpful? Because a lot of people come to me looking for help with human design, obviously, because that's my specialty. That's the main modality that I work through. And I have people that come to me because they're curious about it. And they say, I know that I can do a lot with human design. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to rebrand. I want to take my business in a new direction, and I'd like to do it from a place of alignment. Can you tell me how human design can help me? It might be through their love relationships, their friend relationships, just understanding how they interact with other people. They might be coming to me looking for help with their teams or with parenting, looking at their kids and trying to see what it is that their kids need from them, or who are their children, so they can be better parents to those kids and so they can honor who the child is. In all of these scenarios, we're looking at strengths and weaknesses, gifts and shadows always come up. And this has been coming up. We had a lot of new people join my Business by Design mentorship, and I've been having a lot of calls with different people who are interested in that program or interested in working with me. I'm doing a lot of readings, definitely a lot of business readings and a lot of human design foundational readings. And I've been hearing these patterns where almost every single intake form that I have says something about, I want to leverage my gifts and I want to get out of my own way. And human design absolutely can help you do that. To me, there's no better tool out there for helping you find those things. And that's ultimately why I call the show Unshakeable with Human Design. Because when you see your chart and you see how perfect it is, just as it is, it becomes less personal. You're looking at the shapes and colors on the chart. You're seeing your definition. You're saying, okay, this is me. And it becomes a little less personal. But usually when someone looks at their chart, I get a lot of people who come to me and they see challenges in their chart. They're finding the challenges. They've had challenges in life, and they're hoping that the chart can help them understand how to work through this. Now, I definitely see this certainly with a lot of people who have a lot of openness in their chart, because there can be this belief that it's going to be harder the more open I am. And that's a myth I want to bust right here. And that's really what I want to talk about in this. We're talking about strengths and weaknesses, and how you can redefine those through looking at your human design chart. When we're talking about strengths and weaknesses, we already are getting a sense of gifts and shadows, good and bad. Now, if you've been listening to this show for a while, then you've probably heard me talk about how I see every single thing on the chart, the centers, the gates, the channels, your type, everything, just like dials, little dials and big dials. If you have a center that has 3 channels to it, it's going to be a bigger dial for you. The conscious sun's going to be a bigger dial because they just carry more weight in your particular design. But these are dials that are either turned up to a high frequency or turned down to a low frequency. Not good or bad, just maybe going to cause lessons if it's turned down into the lower frequency, and you'll be attracting more of what you want, living more in your purpose. Things will get easier. Usually we like ourselves a bit more when we're in that higher frequency. Why? Because we start to feel very, very different. When people get into human design, when they start to really dive into this, where I see people go off track a lot of times is they can be really devoted to human design. They can be really diving into it, but this good, bad thing really gets in the way. What are my gifts? Okay, I've got to go and be in my gifts. And then they'll usually find something in their chart and say, well, this is my weakness. This is the thing that's going to make it harder. True, we have challenges, and that is what human design, the chart, can start to point out for us, is what are the challenges that we are going to face? But the challenges are often not necessarily what you think they will be. To me, the challenges are where we have tension in the chart. Where is one thing in your design pulling you one way and something else is pulling you another way? That's going to be the dance that you're here to learn in your life. But I want to propose a new way of looking at strengths and weaknesses. Let's take those terms out because it plays into more of a shadowy theme, right? More shame. Okay, I have this gift, but I have this weakness. I have this strength, but I have this weakness. How do I get rid of the weakness is what we think, because we think that if I could just get stronger, then I won't be weak anymore. And if we look at elements of our chart, like some are strong and some are weak, that's going to cause you to operate incorrectly with that piece. So let me give an example of what I mean here. Most people look at gifts as things that are defined in the chart, that are colored in. And a lot of people who see weakness or see challenge, they see it in the openness, which is not true. I know people who are fully defined, who have 8 centers defined, 9 centers defined, and they have a lot of trouble. Strengths and weaknesses is not defined or undefined, but that is a common misconception. And I want to twist this around here and give you a new perspective on this that I think will really help you in being able to see that the path is different. So let me explain. Someone who has a defined G center might think that one of my strengths is that I know where I'm going in life, that I have this strong sense of direction. So the potential is there for them to know their own sense of direction. However, it might be out of alignment. It might be unhealthy. They may not have been able to follow their own intuition, to follow their own inner guidance, to have trust and faith that they were going to receive all that they needed to, that some inner compass within them would be driving them toward the things that were safe, right, and good for them in their life, toward their purpose. It may not have been nurtured in that way in their childhood. There might have been a really overbearing parent that was saying, don't do it your way, do it this way. This is where you're going. You're going to college here. You got into college, you got into this school, you're going there. Even if they're like, but I really want to go to this school and study this thing. If the choices were taken away from you, if you weren't allowed to be your own authority, then you're probably going to be in a weakened state of that thing, of that particular potential gift. You're going to be in an unhealthy state with that. But that can all be changed. So instead of seeing strengths and weaknesses, I'm proposing looking at this differently and saying, why don't we look at it like consistency and openness? Now, neither of those two things sounds bad, do they? Because we want to be consistent, right? But we also want to be open. And those two words give us a little bit more insight into what definition really means and being defined or undefined really means in the chart. What does that do? That gives us a different avenue, a different way of looking at how we operate, right? Because if I know something is consistent in me, high expression or low expression, healthy or unhealthy, it's consistent. So I'm going to have a different relationship with that. I'm going to look at that and say, this is something that I am. So I really do want to focus on consistently being in alignment with this. This is going to be operating all the time. This is going to be a really strong frequency that I send out. This is going to be something that I'm here to master in this life. That's mine. That's somehow part of the key to me living life according to my purpose. On those places where I'm open, I'm receptive, I'm sensitive, I know things, I feel things without necessarily knowing what they are. Now I need to hone that gift. When you start trusting in these processes of balancing the way that we work with our centers, our channels, our gates, all of our definition and openness, you start to play a very different game rather than looking at yourself as good characteristic, bad characteristic. Good thing, bad thing, strength, weakness. What are your weaknesses? And people used to ask that in interviews. I wonder if they still ask that. What are your 5 key weaknesses? What's your greatest weakness? I don't have any. I only have openness and areas where I'm working on being more consistently in a healthy expression of all that I am. That's how I would answer that right now. But looking at it through consistency and openness gives us this new framework for working with the energy that is ours. So for all the projectors out there, for the reflectors, for the manifestors, for the generators who only have a sacral and something else defined, you are very open. So look at the strength that you have as what you perceive, what you are pulling in. These are your gifts. They are not weaknesses. You just have to operate and function with them differently. You have to look at them differently so that you can start to honor who you really are rather than falling into the shadows of who we've always been told we should be. This is the game that we're playing, and this is what human design does. It gets us putting our trust someplace else rather than in the outside world. What were we told we had to be? How were we told we had to work or show up? What were we told were strengths? What were we told were weaknesses? Someone with an undefined ego or will center who was told to be willful, to show up consistently, to go after what they want. There's a great deal of shame when you try to do that and you feel like the fact that you can't be consistent is a weakness. No, it's part of your strength if you start looking at it differently and get real curious about that space. Get curious about your openness. Get curious about other people in those open spaces around what you feel and what you are able to pick up that nobody else can, that other people who have it defined, who have their own thing going on there, what they cannot pick up like you can, not like you. So when you start to operate this way, this is where you start to become unshakable. When you're making decisions from an empowered place, when you're looking at yourself as perfectly designed, you just need to learn to balance the way that you are interacting with your energy, the way you're interacting with the world. When you start to do that, you start to become unshakable. Now, when I teach my full framework in my Business by Design mentorship, where we go through building a business according to your human design, a lot of people come to me, they want to know, how can I build my business by human design? How can I use it in my branding? How can I use it? How can I sell from my centers? You absolutely can. But this is the part that comes first, is learning how to honor your design and live by it. And if you're interested in that, I have something very exciting that is coming up in the next couple of weeks. This is all going to be about embodying your design, getting that foundation. Because I have some people who look to join my bigger program and start building their brand and doing all of that stuff by human design. And honestly, what happens is they've got too much work to do in the embodiment piece that they're not ready for it. And I want to be honest with people that there's a piece that comes first, that if you have that foundation laid, then you'll start to be ready for those other more advanced parts of human design, like building your business by it. So I'm actually going to be teaching a program on embodying your human design. It will be with me, where you'll be able to interact with me through Q&As and through interaction with me in group settings. And it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really interesting, and it's going to be transformative. So if you are into that, if you are into embodying your human design and starting to become unshakable by your human design, then DM me the 2 words, embody waitlist. And that will get you on the waitlist for this program when it shows up. That will get you on the waitlist. That way you will be the first to learn about this and get special pricing that will only be available to the waitlist. Very excited about this. So please send us that DM on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Leno Official. Send me embody waitlist, and we will send you the info for that. We'll put you on the waitlist. Or you can go to nicoleleno.com/embody waitlist, and you can sign up for it there as well. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope that you are enjoying the series that we have going on the centers. There'll be another one coming out this week, another episode for that. Those will be on Wednesdays. So I hope you're enjoying those. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope this is getting you to redefine the way you look at strengths and weaknesses, that you're able to look at yourself as consistent and open, and how both of those are gifts. They're all your gifts if you start to look at your chart through a different lens and you start to look at yourself through a different lens. All right? So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you become unshakable with human design, everybody. We will see you next time.
If you love this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to nicolelano.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.